I have to get right to the major topic. Yesterday, the shoot down over Moscow of the head of Wagner, same leader that had an attempt at, I don't know what you want to call it, a push, a coup, whatever, but challenging the military leadership of Vladimir Putin in Russia. And then mysteriously, his plane, a wing blows up and it crashes, everyone dead, 8 or 9 people on it, including him. Give us your take on that, Colonel Mills.
Well, I'll quote Stephen K. Bannon, who said, "Ot Caesar, ot nihil, Caesar or nothing." It's a contact sport in that world, and Prigozhin gave up and didn't complete the drive on Moscow, and now he's enjoying the fruit of not following through on what he started. So this is crazy town. This is high stakes. This is a contact sport, and the stakes are mortal in this world. That was no accident. The question is, was he already shot and dead when they shot the airplane down just to make sure, or just to make it look like an accident? But there was personalities. I mean, were the pilots? I mean, you got a number of people killed in this crash. I thought it was curious. Was this when on his drive to Moscow back in June, Prigozhin's forces just wreaked a trail of destruction, essentially the largest single-day losses in the Russian Air Force since World War II. It was 5 to 10 aircraft, including one command and control, I think it was an Ilyushin IL-18, that had easily 20 to 30 on board, shot down by the shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles that Prigozhin forces in June. So I'm wondering if this was a payback for the destruction he wrought on his drive on Moscow, and he said, "Well, you're going to shoot down my aircraft and kill a lot of my pilots. We'll let the Soviet Russian military shoot him down." So, wow.
So give us your take geopolitically. What does this mean, Colonel Mills?
Well, it's Putin establishing absolute ruthless control over Russia. It means his defense minister Shoigu and the senior uniform general Gerasimov essentially survive, and those are the ones that Prigozhin had the beef with. Now, one thing as we watched things unfold, and as Prigozhin went into exile in Belarus, my concern was, were they going to use the Wagner Group as the vanguard to plunge across the border from Belarus? And there's a narrow gap between Belarus and Kaliningrad, which is on the Baltic. That's sovereign Russian territory. They have nuclear weapons there. And were they going to try to create a land bridge, thereby cutting off? Because in between Belarus and Kaliningrad, you have the border of Poland and Lithuania. And so were they going to cut off that gap and create a land bridge, and you cut off the 3 small Baltic countries? I've been there as part of my official duties. Great, wonderful countries that have stood up to the Soviets and the Nazis for years. That's Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Were they going to cut off that land bridge and isolate those 3 countries? That's what I thought the Wagner Group was getting ready to do, and maybe they still will be. They'll just come up with a new leader for the Wagner Group. But yeah, this is Putin's establishing. This is payback for his drive on Moscow in June, which captivated us for a couple of days.
Colonel Mills, let's get to the BRICS meeting in Dubai that we all talked about for many weeks, and it seemed to be an absolute flop. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a turn of events. I mean, President Xi of China has had quite a role. I mean, he's been on a roll over the last 6 months to a year. He's just been running roughshod over Biden, has made a total fool out of Yellen, Blinken, and Lurch as they went to grovel in the groveling tour with Xi. He's established they always had a spy base in China, but expanded it to military training. Announced that as Blinken was flying back with his tail between his legs. I mean, she was on a roll. Did a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. I mean, that didn't make any sense. Got the oil deal with Iran and Saudi Arabia, thereby securing energy, which they need desperately. Everything seemed to be going China's way, and then just 2 or 3 weeks ago, suddenly deflation. Deflation is a bad thing. Inflation is bad. Deflation is most of the times even worse. Now the chickens are coming home to roost, and the total fraud of the Chinese economy is now rearing its head. And they were also having essentially riots in Beijing as Chinese Communist Party leaders were flooding neighborhoods to save their own homes. It's going to be interesting what happens when Xi returns from the BRICS. But the BRICS, it kind of started off. Putin couldn't make it, and he zoomed in with what probably wasn't his own voice. It was weird. And Xi didn't really quite make an appearance until yesterday. And then I don't know if you've seen this bizarre footage of he enters the plenary chamber and behind him the South African guards get into a shoving and wrestling match with his entourage. And the doors are slammed behind him, and he looks like an absolute fool. So she shows up hoping to make this the crowning achievement of building an alliance to topple America and oppose the G7, the premier financial body in the world, like it or not. Instead, Putin doesn't show, Xi doesn't show up on Monday or Tuesday. Wang, his kind of spokesperson, reads a statement, and Xi has just sacked his nuclear force commanders, just sacked his foreign minister, and really deflation is this. Watch this space here, because Evergrande has now declared bankruptcy in China. I mean, the chickens are coming home to roost on the fantasy of Chinese economic growth, and it's going to be interesting to see what happened. Last time Xi left the country was I think it was last October to go to Uzbekistan to meet with Putin. And what happened when he got home? All of a sudden, it was a month and a half of silence as coup rumors, and I think there was a coup going on. And then the White Paper Rebellion as simultaneously across the country. It was hairy there for a while, and when dictators leave the country, in their return, you never know what's going to happen. Watch this space.